Hi, everyone. Welcome. We are talking today about sprinting out of quarantine. And I know a lot of you have been with us for the last few weeks, and we've been talking about how to cope with being in quarantine and what you can do if you are, you've been in your house, and how you can stay healthy and remain healthy as you make the transition. So today we're talking about sprinting out of quarantine. And of course, we want you to do a couple of different things. We want you to stay healthy because you've been healthy all this time. If you're on this call, I'm assuming that you're healthy. Everybody give me a yes if you're healthy, if you're on in the chat, or give me just a thumbs up. Terrific. And the other, thank you, John. Thank you, Teresa. What also I love is that when we're working with natural health products, what we can continue to do is make transitions, right? So very much like our governments and our cities, as they are gradually opening up. Lynn says, thumbs up. Yep, I see you, Lynn. That's great. What we are also doing in our own personal lives is making that transition from maybe having been home for quite a while to now being out and about, right? How many of you are feeling bold and you're ready to go? Tell me if you're feeling bold. Just type the word bold in the chat. I want to hear from all of our bold people. And John says bold, Teresa says bold, Swam B, Lorinda bold. Okay, Christy says bold, I love it. So I'm hearing from all my bold people. Sihan says bold. Yap says bold, love it. Josie, Carol, Nelna, Jamie, Betty. Okay, I love it. And now I'm gonna ask on the other side, and it's okay for you. Who of you are feeling maybe a little nervous or shy? And so if you're feeling a little shy, and it's okay, don't worry, we've got your back. I want you to type in the chat, shy. And if you're so shy that you can't type in the chat, it's okay. You can just give me a thumbs up if you like. Or you can go to participants and then just give me a virtual thumbs up. Some people, Christy says, still feel nervous and shy sometimes. I get it. I am with you. Sometimes I feel bold. Josie says shy, Hong says shy, but I know Hong is not usually shy, so maybe he's saying it for here. But we all feel a little bit different, right? Ella says shy. It's that feeling of, I want to get out, I want to socialize, I want to sprint out of quarantine, but I also want to stay safe and healthy. So what we're going to talk about today are what are some of the things that can help you get to that next level, make the transition, and really feel healthy and safe. And I think we've got some great tips for you. We're going to tell you the 5 tips for making the transition. So those are emotional, social, psychological, and then we're going to talk about the oils, of course, that are going to support you in that transition. So get out your pencils and paper, because I don't have a lot of slides with photographs of essential oils today, so you're going to have to write a few things down. If you miss anything, you know that we're going to be talking about it also on the blog. And this is recorded and it's going to be on YouTube. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe below. We'd love to see you on a regular basis. And if you miss this particular Zoom call or this live, then you can come back, or you have to jump off for some reason, you can come back and watch it later. You can also share it with a friend. So we hope you'll do that too. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks. I think it's important for us to start thinking about what's our transition. What is it that we're going to be doing? And why do we feel the way we feel, right? Sometimes we feel really bold, sometimes we feel a little bit shy, but either way, we're ready to make that transition. And our governments, our nations are beginning to tell us, yes, it's time, you are ready, right? So we want to make sure that we are also doing the right thing, and we have just enough information and enough essential oils, of course, to get us through to that next level. And so if everybody's with me and you're in the chat, I want to see a little bit of a hands up. So we are talking about sprinting, right? No, we've been in a marathon for the longest time. One of the things that we know when we talk about when we talk about quarantine is that it's been kind of long. Many of us have been listening and watching different sources, news sources, trying to figure out what's the next step, and now suddenly the next step has come. If you're listening to me in Southeast Asia, many of you were on a circuit breaker for about a month, and then another circuit breaker earlier in the year, and you may be feeling like, I'm back out in the world, but I really don't know what to do. So today we're going to tell you what to do. And for those of you listening to me from the United States or from Europe, you may also be in you're in different stages. I'm here in the Northeast in the United States, in the state of New Jersey, and we're opening up in stages. This past weekend, I was actually able to attend a church service, very limited, everybody with masks. We had to buy tickets, or we had to register for tickets online. It was still completely free, but very limited. And it felt weird. I felt great to be back. It felt good to see my fellow parishioners and my community, but it also didn't seem fully back to normal. So the things I'm going to help you do now are begin to feel that new normal, to begin to feel like I'm confident. And for anybody who has said in the chat that they were feeling a little bit shy, I'm going to help you to not feel so shy, to feel confident as you go out and you move around, that this is the right place for you to be. So number one, after a long quarantine, we have a new beginning. So the US is slowly starting to open up, as I mentioned to you before. We just celebrated the first day of summer here in the Northern Hemisphere, and the summer solstice. So what does that mean? Longer days for those of us who live away from the equator. In the Northern Hemisphere, we're seeing longer days, shorter nights, more beautiful weather. This is the time that people are getting out and getting to their beaches. We are able to see different sorts of just new horizons, right? This is a new time for us. So I'm going to give you two quick tips, right? Number one is, if you've been in your home for a long time, your home may actually be a mess, okay? And I'm being totally honest with you. You've been home maybe with your entire family for weeks and weeks, and now all of a sudden you look around and you think to yourself, oh my gosh, look what this place looks like. It is absolutely a mess. It's filthy. And so now is the time to do what? Get out your On Guard cleaning products, right? So you want to get out your On Guard concentrate and mix it with some water, use it as a spray, get into some of those crevices and cracks that now you're beginning to see, wow, our home has really taken a beating. Now, I know in my particular case, we've kept our home pretty clean, but I'm beginning to notice where we need some paint, right? Because we've been opening, closing doors and touching all the walls and touching the light switches, and everything's beginning to look like it has a lot of finger marks on it. So first thing is clean off those finger marks, right, with your On Guard cleaner. And then you want to try to maybe clean off any scuff marks that you have on the floor, because you're just walking those four walls and the floor again and again. And then the last thing you want to do is, maybe if your home is super clean and maybe you can just walk away, you maybe want to get out at this point, and you want to just use your Terra Shield, right? If you're going to get out, I'm going to talk about getting out in a minute. So Chu says, it's nice of you to be back in your parish. Yes, it absolutely is. As many of you know, the building of our church burned down right around Christmas time, 2 weeks before Christmas. Unfortunately, it was the work of an arsonist, which is really sad. We are having our church services now in a school gymnasium, but even so, it's not about the building, even though as in my religion, we believe that's a consecrated space, so it's a very sacred space. So we're very sad about the actual building burning down and all the things that were in it. But what's really more important is the community and the spirit that lives on. And we are back together as a community. Christy Carpenter says, so thank you for asking. Thank you, Chu. Christy Carpenter says, we purged the house and had a yard sale and donated the rest of it and felt great. Now that's a great way to spend your quarantine. We also gave away bags and bags of things. We haven't had a yard sale yet, but honestly, that's a great idea. John says they did spring cleaning as thorough as Chinese New Year. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of cleaning. So you may have two ends of the spectrum. For those of you you who didn't do a lot of cleaning, amen to you, because you know what? Maybe you didn't drive the other people in your house crazy, and that's okay. Whatever you did while you were in your house, it's all good. I know the super ambitious people that were getting in to all the corners and crevices of their houses. Those are sometimes the people that wind up getting a lot of, you know, amens and the praise. But we want to make sure that each person is really valued, whatever their contribution and whatever it is that they're feeling. Okay, so next thing we want to talk about is, what's the title of this next chapter? We're writing a book about our lives. For me, I would be calling it The Road to Return. I feel like I'm driving back after having been away on a long trip. And you know what? It feels really good. It feels like I'm getting back to something that I once lost. I was riding around in my neighborhood the other day. One interesting thing is we've hardly used any gasoline in my car, of course, because I haven't driven anywhere, and just sort of noticing what shops are reopening and what restaurants, and maybe I could eat at a certain place because I seem to have outdoor dining, and the weather has been absolutely beautiful. So this is really the time to get out. Mentally though, we may be feeling a little bit exhausted, right? We've been through, like we've literally run a marathon. And so now that's when the exhaustion sets in. We're at our finish line, or we're right near our finish line if you're in a place that's not quite open yet. So I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions. I am turning again and again to an oldie but a goodie, and I haven't talked about this in a while, my elevation. And where am I using my elevation? I'm actually using it in my shower, in my bath. I'm either using a bath bomb, or I'm using a shower pod, the ones you throw on the floor and let melt, the shower melts. The other thing that you can do is if you take just a few drops and put it in the shower away from where the water falls, so it will just, the steam will begin to release the aroma. So I'm using my elevation. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm using my Intune, something that I haven't used a while, and I usually use it for my kids because I use it when they're studying, or maybe when I'm studying, but I'm using my Intune more and more because I want to get out there and I want to be aware of what's going on. I want to be able to absorb new thoughts, new feelings, new sensations. It's like having a new life. So I'm using my Intune. Intune is a roll-on, for those of you who don't know. Roll it on the back of your neck, put it on your wrists. And the last one, another oldie but a goodie, I'm using my Citrus Bliss. Who remembers Citrus Bliss? If you've used it before, give me a hands up or tell me in the chat if you used Citrus Bliss, and have you maybe not used it recently. So those are my 3 suggestions for that kind of a road to return. So elevation, Intune, and Citrus Bliss. So now I'm going to tell you about my 5 tips for your new normal. These are sort of your mindset. You know, I'm always talking about mindset, goal setting. Where is your mental space, right? Your mental space is almost like a country that you're inhabiting, but you're taking it around with you wherever it is that you go. And so you want to think about where is my head right now? And these 5 tips, I think, and the essential oils associated with them, I think are going to really help you as you go on to that next level. Okay, so number 1, I want you to change your language. Just like you're going on a trip, you're going to go to a foreign place. Maybe they don't speak the language that you speak, and you're going to change your language. So number 1, we're going to start talking about new beginnings, right? We're not going to be talking about the end of the quarantine. We're kind of dragging out. We've got our knuckles on the ground. We can't even get there. No, we're talking about new beginnings and really surging forward. So let's push into that, your life, your business, your happiness, right? Let's really push deeper into those things. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what I'm doing. One of the things that I think is helping me is I'm doing one of 2 things. I'm either using On Guard mouthwash on a more regular basis. And I actually read an article recently that said that people that brush their teeth 3 times a day, which doesn't seem outrageous because most of us brush at least twice, right? Morning and night. For those of you who brush less than twice a day, I don't want to know, you can keep that a secret, but for people who brush 3 times a day, their risk of diabetes actually goes down by 8%. Risk of diabetes down by 8%. So that's a crazy statistic. So I'm really using my toothbrush as a health tool now because I read this article. So of course I'm brushing with my On Guard toothpaste, but I'm also using my On Guard mouthwash. And what am I finding? I'm finding that my teeth are staying cleaner. Obviously I'm going out, I'm talking to people, I want to have really fresh breath, right? I talk to you all the time, but you can't smell my breath, right? I could have eaten, I don't know, onions and garlic 2 minutes ago and you wouldn't even know about it. But now that I'm out and about, I have to be more mindful of my breath. The other thing is, I think that it's helping my mental state. It's giving me a pick-me-up. Now, you may not have On Guard mouthwash in your home, and you may be thinking, well, what can I do instead of On Guard mouthwash? So I'm going to give you a recipe. So get out your pencils and paper. You want to write this down. You can use, and you're going to blend this together with 125 milliliters of water. It's just plain old water. Tap water is fine. As long as it's drinkable, you can use bottled if you prefer. So 125 milliliters of water. For my American friends, that's 4 ounces. And you're going to blend 5 drops of peppermint, 5 drops of melaleuca, 3 drops of clove, 2 drops of cinnamon bark, and 2 drops of myrrh. And you're going to put this in the water, you're going to stir it up, you're going to keep it on your counter, you can keep it in a small jar, and then when you need to, you're going to use it as a mouth rinse. Now, many of you are going to say to me, tea tree, melaleuca, what's happening? Yes, doTERRA did go through a name change about, I want to say 6 months ago, changing our original melaleuca to tea tree worldwide. They also, in that change, took the ingestible label off the bottle. And there's a lot of reasons why that may have happened. I'm not going to go into those here, but I will say one of the things that the company does say is that you can use it as a mouth rinse. So you're not swallowing it, but you're able to use it as a disinfectant to rinse your mouth. So this is completely safe, and you can blend these 5 essential oils together. And I think they make a lovely mouth rinse. And I want to think that they're kind of waking you up and perking up your brain. So that's number 1. So if you're changing your language, you want to change the flora of your mouth and get ready to speak out. Okay, number 2 is listen to new voices. Okay, well, listening to new voices means we're not listening to the same old news station, radio station, newspaper, whatever it is that we've been doing all along. You want to get out there and you want to hear new things. It can be exhilarating or frustrating, right? Either way, but it can challenge you if you're not looking at the same old things. I've been actually going onto social media and trying to listen to different voices. And sometimes I listen to someone and they make me feel angry, but you know what? It's okay. I'm challenging my brain, my emotions. I don't want to keep listening to the same thing all over again. And we've talked about this over the last few weeks here in the United States. We've gone through a lot of social upheaval recently, but I think people are listening and they're talking, which doesn't mean they're not fighting and arguing. They are, but it's a time for us to really come together and to listen to other voices. So now for your ears, right? We've talked about your mouth first. Now we're going to talk about your ears. So applying around your ears, you want to make sure your hearing is really good, that you have that sense of calm when you're listening. I would be applying helichrysum, lemon, and frankincense around the outsides of my ears. And I want to be doing that at least once a day. Now, because you're applying lemon, if you have long hair like me, it's okay. You don't have to worry that it's going to be exposed to sunlight. But if you have very short hair, I would be applying that definitely at night because you don't want the skin, the tender skin behind your ear to get burned in any way. And lemon is can be photosensitive, especially in bright sunlight. So you want to be conscious of that. So you talked about your voice now and talked about your ears. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to seek the new. Now, this is going to also challenge you in terms of your business. If you've been a person who's been doing the same thing, haven't gotten involved in a new way, you want to really be thinking about how can I be doing something new so that my business becomes bolder, it becomes brighter, it becomes the shiny object, if you will, that people want to follow, that they're really attracted to it. And we've talked about doing new things in the past. one of the things we've talked about is joining a new club or taking up a new hobby. Change can be healthy. It can also help our brain to stay vibrant. So one of the hobbies that I've taken up lately is, and I've always been artistic, but I don't know if I've ever been a photographer per se, is I actually get myself one of the new mirrorless cameras, which basically, you have to look into it, but mirrorless basically means that it doesn't have the shutter, the flip down shutter on the inside. The reflection of the image goes right back through the lens, and you're seeing the image as it truly is being seen by the lens. What does that mean? It means that the camera is a little bit lighter, but it also means that you have to be more conscious that, of course, you're not dropping it, but it's really good for video and stuff. And so I'm looking into this whole new electronic world, if you will, and it's a way for me to incorporate that into my business. Now, that's a new hobby that I've taken up recently, but you may be doing something different. You may have started cooking, avidly cooking while you were home. Maybe it's the time for you to take an outdoor cooking class, right? That you can learn some kind of new cuisine. So let's talk about how do we get over those shy or anxious feelings. So we talked about our mouth, our ears. Now we're talking a little bit about our heart and our emotions, right? So how many of you, and I want to hear this in the chat, how many of you are nervous sometimes when you have to go and do something new? So who has nerves? And you just tell me in the chat, how many of you feel nervous? And I'm looking at the chat, whoops, and I want to see what's going on. And I see that it's, thank you, Irene, for having typed in the recipe. I see a couple of people were like, what is she saying? She's talking so fast. Thank you so much. That's exactly what it is. Let's see. And Irene, don't worry. All of this is recorded, so you're going to be able to hear it again. So you didn't miss anything. Christy says she has nerves sometimes. Joy says nerves. Catherine says nerves. Cynthia says me sometimes. Annie says me, Simon says me, perhaps, and Josie says perhaps the fear of the unknown. Exactly. Sometimes, did you ever feel like you're getting ready for a party, you're all dressed for the party, and all of a sudden you think, I just want to stay home. I don't even want to go. Sometimes that can be nerves. That's that feeling of, what if they don't like me? What if I don't make a good impression? What if they don't like my clothes or my hair or my dress or whatever it is, the shape of my face? But what I'm challenging you to do now is seek the new, because we've been in a situation where we've been doing the same thing again and again, and we don't want to get ourselves stuck in a rut. Now, some of you have actually joined some wonderful challenges. I know we still have a few people on this call that are in Diamond Club, and you have been challenging yourselves. So for those of you who are still in Diamond Club, congratulations. For anyone who started Diamond Club, congratulations. I really salute you. My hat is off, as they say in French, chapeau bas. That I know that Diamond Club is a challenge. Some of you are also joining some different sorts of enrollment challenges or different ways of meeting new people. If you've joined an enrollment challenge, perhaps during quarantine, tell me in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. So if you're feeling anxious, yes. Oh, John, you don't know about Diamond Club? We're going to talk to you about that in a little while. It is a wonderful program that allows you to get sponsorship from the company and doTERRA, and also from your uplines, to be able to host and give away additional prizes to the people you are enrolling. And there are minimums for the people that you need to enroll each month, but it's a wonderful way to challenge yourself and to grow your doTERRA community. So it's a really great thing. So tell me if you've done a challenge. I know Teresa Kafara, you're doing a challenge right now. Could you please type it in the chat and let us know what it is? So if you're feeling anxious about challenges, I want you to try a couple of things. Again, get out your pencil. Peace roll-on, wonderful. A lot of people use it for sleeping, but I feel like sometimes we just need that sense of peace. We're feeling anxious. Also, Douglas fir, for all of my people who said they were feeling shy, these are the oils for you. Or console. I want you to apply the console on your shoulders. Sometimes now when we go out, we may see actually a store that's closed that we used to love to frequent, and it brings back wonderful memories. But we feel sad about that. Or we know somebody who was afflicted with COVID and they are no longer with us. I want you to apply your console and realize that it's going to be okay. You are really going to get to a place that you feel better, you feel more secure. Use your console. Use it during the day if you need it, but especially use it right before bed. And the last thing that I like to do, and this is kind of an interesting blend, is I like to blend bergamot and patchouli. Now I use equal parts, so I use 1 drop and 1 drop. For those of you who have never tried bergamot or patchouli, patchouli is very spicy and bergamot is like a strong citrus. And so together they work very well. If it's a little strong for you, of course, you can dilute it with fractionated coconut oil, but those two are terrific together. So for those of you who said you feel shy, you feel anxious, you're maybe not feeling boldly going forth out of quarantine, try these and use your fir oil. So use, in addition to your Douglas fir, use your Siberian fir, use your wood oils like your cedar wood. You want to really ground yourself. Oil games. So that's the other thing I wanted to mention. Suan B mentioned it, and also Teresa typed it in. There is a group going on from July through August. If you type in oil games, you will find them all over the internet, or Oil Games doTERRA. Check it out. It's a great way for you to challenge yourself and to build your contacts and also your enrollments. The other thing you can do is listen to the daily mentor calls, and you can see that in the chat. You can, for those of you who are watching the chat simultaneously, you can see that everybody's typing. And I don't know if you know this, but at the end of the call, or even in the middle, if you see those 3 little dots on the bottom right, if you tap on those dots with your cursor, one of the things we'll say, save this chat, and you can save the chat and then you can have it forever and ever. So that's tip number 3. I'm taking a lot of time today. I guess I'm talking a lot. Let's go on to tip number 4. I'm going to challenge you to take a vacation. Now, you may not be able to go very far. So right now, I would love to get on a plane and go someplace really far, but that's not an option. I'm going to probably have to stay in the United States at least for the next 6 months or so. And many things, even the United States, are very, very restricted, depending on where you are, what state you're in. But I can get in my car and drive, and that's what I intend to do. So if you can get to a beach, maybe you can get to a spa, maybe you can go to a park, take a mini vacation, maybe even book a hotel overnight. Get away from your normal routine. Now is the time to do it. So one of the things that we experience sometimes when we've been sitting a lot, we've been in the same places, is something that's called adrenal fatigue. And you're gonna have to read a little bit more about your adrenal glands and how they support you and why they're important and what adrenal fatigue can really mean. But if for me, when I am feeling fatigued in that way, what I try to do is I apply some essential oils on my lower back. So that's below my belt and above sort of my hips. It's that little area above my behind. So that's that 4-inch area right there where my lower back is, to support my lower back and to support all the parts of my body. So what am I applying there? I'm applying rosemary, basil, geranium, ylang-ylang, and zendocrine blend. So rosemary, basil, geranium, ylang-ylang, and zendocrine. So interestingly enough, all of these oils can be taken in water. So you could take a single drop in water, or you can make a gel cap for yourself and swallow it down. Or you could apply it on your back or use them in a massage. And when we apply essential oils on the back, we always want to apply them from the bottom of the back to the top, up to the head. So always down and up, down and up, right? We don't apply essential oils going down. We want them to come up into the brain. So those are my 5 recommendations for that sense of I'm sorry. Yes, I'm saying ylang ylang. Megan has written it down. I realize some people call it ylang ylang or a different spelling. I may be pronouncing it different. Zendocrine. Yes. So I think you've got it. I'm just going to type it. Can I type in the chat here? Yes, I am saying ylang ylang. Just for anybody who's not sure. Okay, great. Again, apply. Drinking water, apply on the back of the neck, take in a capsule. Love it. So that sense of fatigue, you want to get over it, you want to go take a vacation, try these 5 oils. Next one, this is my last tip, but I'm going to have more. I have more essential oils here to give yourself. Give yourself some grace. Everything changes, folks. This might have been a severe change, or it might have been a shock to you or to some of us, maybe literally everyone. I think the worldwide is thinking, how could this have happened? And where do we go next? Give yourself the grace to transition to your next level. You're going to be able to do it. I have absolute complete faith in you. You want to acknowledge and maybe even embrace your losses, our shared experience, the experience that you had with your family. You can feel beautiful and refreshed and life affirmed, even if you have gone through a terrible tragedy. These are things that will build your courage, and they will help you to step into that next phase of your life, whatever it may be. Now, what I am doing, so you want to, of course, I strongly believe in the power of prayer. I've said this many times in this call. Whatever your faith tradition, grounding yourself in prayer, concentration, meditation can be one of the fastest ways and the best ways for you to feel like you're back in the right place. As for oils, I would be using the following: cedarwood, frankincense, of course, and copaiba. Cedarwood, frankincense, and copaiba. And last but not least, a blend that I really love is vetiver and lavender. And again, I'm using equal parts of each, vetiver and lavender. So you've got that sweet smell of your lavender, which is that sweet floral, and then you've got your vetiver, which is that more earthy. For me, I get a little bit of citrus, but you've got the earthy and the floral together, and blend it again with fractionated coconut oil. Keep it with you during the day. If it's not spicy enough, you could add a little bit of pink pepper to that blend, or a citrus like your bergamot, but vetiver and lavender. So of course we want to give ourselves some grace and allow ourselves the time to really pray and meditate. Thank you for all my dear friends that are typing, busily typing in the chat. I'm trying to speak a little bit more slowly. Last but not least, I have a slide for you. So this one you can actually take a photograph of. This is my goal setting slide. Here's a couple of diffuser blends for you to use for planning, manifesting, renewing, starting fresh, crushing your goals, and getting to work. You see I've got in there your rosemary, your vetiver, you've got your frankincense in there, your lemon, you've got your bergamot, your myrrh, all of which are really great for you to kind of go on to that next level. So last but not least, I want to mention 2 things to you. If you do not already, if you're not already on Instagram, I'm going to encourage you to go there. We are at the end of June, and for those of you who didn't know, this is my birthday and anniversary month, and I've been celebrating. Yesterday was Father's Day here in the United States. I heard actually, so this is pretty cool. You maybe didn't know this already if you're in the US, that Father's Day in China is celebrated on the 8th of August because daddy, papa, sounds like baba, and ba is 8, and so baba celebrated on the 8th of August. So not yesterday, but on the 8th of August, so maybe we'll be celebrating fathers all over again. If you are still on, I'm going to ask you, hold on a second. We're getting a little bit of feedback here. There you go. Okay, terrific. If you're not already on Instagram, please follow, because we are going to be giving away one more giant prize. And it's very easy to enter. You just have to follow, and then maybe follow a few directions, maybe make a comment on a post or something. So it's super easy. Our very last prize on Instagram for the month of June is going to be a, oops, rose roll-on to end out our month of gratitude. We're going to be announcing that today on Instagram, and we're going to be announcing the winner on Friday. So you have 5 full days. So you can tag a friend and you can help them to also win a rose roll-on, which would be really cool. So it looks like a little bit like this. If you're on Instagram, take a look. We'd love to see you on there. Thank you, as always, to our Presidential Diamond team. You're the people who work to bring this call together on a weekly basis. So happy that you're here, and thank you for joining us. And the ideas expressed in this presentation are primarily from the book, Essential Oils, Healthcare for Today. We have free, some free resources for you. If you go to ElenaJordan.com and sign up, you can get our free resources. Super easy. When you get to the main page, you're going to see it right there on the header, and you can tap on it. We have a free ebook, and we have some other things for you. You can sign up for the blog and subscribe and get more detail about what I talked about today. Of course, remember, you are amazing. No matter what I say or do, you are a person of genuine worth and kindness. And I'm so honored to be able to share this time with you all every single week. Thank you all for being here, and have a wonderful week. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to, we're going to say, maybe see if there are any questions in the chat. Anybody have any questions about the presentation, about any of the recommendations? And then we're going to go on and we're going to award our prize winners like we always do. I hope you're all really enthusiastic. I'm going to give you something totally different that you do not even expect. And 2 of you are going to win it, which is really kind of cool. So usually I give something that we talked about in the presentation, but I'm going to go a little crazy today because today is the last week of June that we're going to be talking online. And I want to give you something so that when you come out of quarantine, you are just going to feel like a new person. You're going to say, I feel great. Ella, don't worry, it's going to be a great prize. You're all so cute, and I love to see your smiling faces. And so you could not be any more beautiful, but could you feel more beautiful? Maybe. So today's prize is actually 2 lucky winners are going to win a Virage skincare kit. 2 lucky winners are going to win a Virage skincare kit, the complete kit, and I'm going to pick them right now. So hold on. Let me see. So I hope you're excited about that. I try to put a little bit of extra serum on. I realized I maybe went a little bit overboard. I look a little bit too shiny today, but I wanted you to know that I'm actually using the serum. So if I look shiny, don't say, what happened to her today? That's what I did. Let's see what we can do today. Who are our 2 winners? I have my trusty notebook. Also, any questions, remember, you can always check it. You can always mention it in the chat, or you can DM me on any of the platforms on social media, or come over to our, you can comment below on YouTube.